The trail hasn't been easy for my fellow Democrats either. As we all know, Hillary's private emails got her in trouble. Frankly, I thought it was going to be her private Instagram account that was going to cause her bigger problems. Hillary kicked things off by going completely unrecognized at a Chipotle. Not to be outdone, Martin O'Malley kicked things off by going completely unrecognized at a Martin O'Malley campaign event. And Bernie Sanders might run. I like Bernie. Bernie's an interesting guy. Apparently, some folks really want to see a pot-smoking socialist in the White House. We could get a third Obama term after all. Could happen. Anyway, as always, I want to close on a more serious note. You know, I often joke about tensions between me and the press, but honestly, what they say doesn't bother me. I understand we've got an adversarial system. I'm a mellow sort of guy. And that's why I invited Luther, my anger translator, to join me here tonight.
Hold on to your lily white butts.
In our fast-changing world, traditions like the White House Correspondents' dinner are important.
I mean, really? What is this dinner? And why am I required to come to it? Jeb Bush, do you really want to do this?
Because despite our differences, we count on the press to shed light on the most important issues of the day.
And we can count on Fox News to terrify old white people with some nonsense. Sharia law is coming to Cleveland, run for the damn hills! Y'all's ridiculous.
We won't always see eye to eye.
Oh, and CNN, thank you so much for the wall-to-wall Ebola coverage. For 2 whole weeks, we were one step away from the Walking Dead. And then you all got up and just moved on to the next thing. That was awesome. Oh, and by the way, just if you haven't noticed, you don't have Ebola.
But I still deeply appreciate the work that you do.
Y'all remember when I had that big old hole in the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, and then I plugged it? Remember that? Which Obama's Katrina was that one? Was that 19, or was it 20, because I can't remember.
Protecting our democracy is more important than ever. For example, the Supreme Court ruled that the donor who gave Ted Cruz $6 million was just exercising free speech.
Yeah, it's the kind of speech like this. I just wasted $6 million.
And it's not just Republicans. Hillary will have to raise huge sums of money, too.
Oh, yeah. She gonna get that money. She gonna get all the money. Khaleesi is coming to Westeros. Watch out! Woo!
The nonstop focus on billionaire donors creates real problems for our democracy.
And that's why we're running for a 3rd term.
No, we're not.
We're not?
No.
Who the hell said that?
But we do need to stay focused on some big challenges, like climate change.
Hey, listen, y'all, if you haven't noticed, California is bone dry. It looked like a trailer for the new Mad Max movie up in there. Y'all think that Bradley Cooper came here because he wants to talk to Chuck Todd? He needed a glass of water. Come on.
The science is clear. The science is clear. 9 out of the 10 hottest years ever came in the last decade.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I do know how to count to 10.
Rising seas, more violent storms.
You got mosquitoes, sweaty people on the train stinking it up. It's just nasty.
I mean, look at what's happening right now. Every serious scientist says we need to act. The Pentagon says it's a national security risk. Miami floods on a sunny day, and instead of doing anything about it, we've got elected officials throwing snowballs in the Senate.
Okay, I think I got it, bro.
It is crazy. What about our kids? What kind of stupid, short-sighted, irresponsible bull?
Whoa, hey!
What?
Okay, no, hey.
What?
All due respect, sir, you don't need an anger translator. You need counseling. So now I'm out of here, man. I ain't trying to get into all this.
Go. Luther, my anger translator, ladies and gentlemen. Now that I got that off my chest. You know, investigative journalism, explanatory journalism, journalism that exposes corruption and injustice and gives voice to the different and the marginalized, the voiceless. That's power. It's a privilege. It's as important to America's trajectory, to our values, our ideals, than anything that we could do in elected office. We remember journalists we lost over the past year. Journalists like Stephen Sotloff and James Foley, murdered for nothing more than trying to shine a light into some of the world's darkest corners. We remember the journalists unjustly imprisoned around the world, including our own Jason Rezaian. For 9 months, Jason has been imprisoned in Tehran for nothing more than writing about the hopes and the fears of the Iranian people, carrying their stories to the readers of the Washington Post in an effort to bridge our common humanity. As was already mentioned, Jason's brother Ali is here tonight, and I have told him personally we will not rest until we bring him home to his family, safe and sound. These journalists and so many others view their work as more than just a profession, but as a public good, an indispensable pillar of our society. So I want to give a toast to them. I raise a glass to them and to all of you with the words of the American foreign correspondent Dorothy Thompson. It is not the fact of liberty, but the way in which liberty is exercised that ultimately determines whether liberty itself survives. Thank you for your devotion to exercising our liberty and to telling our American story. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
President Barack Obama delivering his remarks, opening, of course, with a lot of jokes, including his anger translator coming out, and then turning and taking a much more serious note, talking about journalists, American journalists who have lost their lives, as he said, James Foley, Stephen Sotloff, trying to shed light into the darkest corners, talking about the importance of the media, especially in the world today, also talking about the Washington Post journalist imprisoned in Tehran, Jason Rezaian, whose brother Ali is there. Let's go around the room as we wait for Cecily Strong to speak and get your reactions. First to you, DL.
In the words of the president, bucket. I thought it was. I thought it was edgy. It was biting. It was what a lot of it what I had hoped another comic would do, but he did a great job. I thought the Key and Peele thing was hilarious. And I thought he took some real shots at some people, and that's ultimately...
Did he go as far as he wanted?
Of course. Well, no, not as far as I wanted, obviously, but I think that he took some real, he made some people, he took some zingers that made people look around the room. And you clearly knew what he was doing. So.
Laurie, I'd be interested in your take on what's resonating most online.
Oh, I think people love the King K. People absolutely love the anger management. But I loved at the end when he kind of brought it back and talked about the power of journalism.
And the responsibility.
And the responsibility. If we take a step back and we look at everything that's happened over the past year, I've never been prouder to be a journalist. When you look at what's happened at Paris with the attacks, you look at what's happened overseas and the people that have lost their lives. I love that he came back to that idea of the responsibility. And I thought he did a very good job as a comedian. I thought he was a very, very funny comedian.
As someone who's tracked the president, is that what he typically will do at the end? Is at these dinners is to come back in that way about journalism?
Yeah, for sure, but never to that extent.
Right.
I mean, my recollection is he's certainly never done a separate toast to the entire Washington press corps, and even sort of gone to that length. I mean, almost even in an emotional fashion. So that was great to hear from him, for sure.
It was interesting to me, Errol, how much he focused on campaign finance. Did that strike you?
Yes. Actually, yeah. I mean, to talk about money in politics. This is a guy who has raised no small amount of money in his own time.
And who's supporting Hillary Clinton, who wants her team has said they want to raise $2.5 billion.
Well, exactly. But, to point out that, look, the Koch brothers are going to essentially dub somebody as the leader, at least on the financial side, when it comes to the Republican nomination. That's extraordinary. That is unusual. That deserved some comment, and I'm glad he did mention it.
Although I heard Tara saying,
well,
plenty of money going to the Democrats.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I thought that it was ironic that the president who raised the most and the most campaign money, 1.3 billion or something like that, was talking about billionaires like George Soros who supported him. But I mean, the president, like I said, he's got good comedic timing. I think some of the shots were very, very biting. The Key and Peele, hilarious. But let's just put it in perspective why he addressed the journalism aspect of this toward the end. Yeah. Because he's been criticized resoundingly by the White House Correspondents Association for the lack of access and for what's been going on. They also went after his Justice Department, went after James Rosen of Fox News. They were, bugging his parents' emails, for goodness sakes, and investigating leaks. What happened with James Risen? There was a blatant attack, if you want to say, AP, the spying on AP reporters. So these things happened under this administration, and then you had 2 journalists beheaded by ISIS over the summer, and for him not to address that, it was a way of them trying to smooth that over and giving a hat tip because of all of these tragedies that have happened under this administration.